not only has inflation in the economy impacted, replacement cost valuations, but it's also the cost of labor. It's the cost of insurance for the contractors, and the fact that our commercial department has a luxury home builders program. We know what these guys are charging insureds to either come into Manhattan or out in the Hamptons. So we know what the replacement cost valuations are. And so often we get submissions and the retailer will say, send an application. Oh, the replacement cost is $5 million. All right, well, who was the prior carrier? Oh, one of the high-end domestics was on it. You ask for that inspection, and all of a sudden the inspection from 2 years ago you see is $7 million. Well, why am I getting it at 5? And they just assume because we're going to an E&S market that it's going to be $2 million less than what the supposed, domestic had inflated it to at 7. But in this day and age, with what you have going on with inflation, the cost of materials, labor, et cetera, there's going to be no difference between the replacement costs from the high-end domestic that you had it with versus the E&S market. So that's been some tough conversations that we've had to have with retail agents as far as the replacement cost valuations go. But we've seen when our E&S books get modeled how spot on we are with the occasional loss that we have, and the actual replacement cost valuation we had on the home are definitely in line, because the insured does not want to get hit with a co-insurance penalty after having already moved from an admitted market to an E&S market, paying more in premium, suffering a claim, and then having a penalty when that claim is being paid out.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes the retailer should communicate to the insurer that the cost to build something, when there's planning involved, where a contractor is able to buy items in bulk, that doesn't necessarily translate when there is a shock loss, and a contractor needs to drop everything that he or she is doing and needs to go ahead and order materials that may be at a scarcity given what's going on with the economy, picking up new labor that wasn't planned for or budgeted for, that drives the cost of reconstruction. And retailers just need to do a really good job. So, most of them do, but really hone in on some real life examples of why it's going to cost X to rebuild something at time of loss.
Yeah, and coming from the high-valued homeowner space, where do these people live? They live where the wind blows, where waters flood, where there's wildfires. And when you have a cat event like that, that also increases and inflates the replacement cost valuation, because you're going to have damage that's widespread. So that's not only your home that's going to have to be rebuilt, it's going to be multiple homes, in your neighborhood, in your county, in your state. So that definitely adds to the increase in the replacement cost valuation. That's been key, and that's conversations I've had with E&S markets when we do get our contracts and our binding authority, and they're constantly talking about the importance of the replacement cost valuations in the contract and how that definitely impacts the modeling and how contracts are evaluated.
At the end of the day, a client is paying a lot of premium for this insurance. If they go through a loss, they're already in a bad spot. The last thing that they want to face after the loss is to realize that they're underinsured and they're not going to be able to rebuild one of their prized possessions, being their home. That's super important, and that's why we need to be insured to value.
Yeah, and exactly. That's why we inspect all of our risks with a reputable, high-valued homeowners inspector, and we inspect every 3 years. So they're trusting us to get it right. There's no need to not insure it to value.
At the end game, we want to make them whole again, and this is the proper way to go about it.